Bonjour! We are back with some practice for direct and indirect object pronouns. If you haven't yet watched and taken notes on the last video that was explaining all of this, please go do that now. I don't recommend jumping right into the practice unless you feel very, very strong at grammar. But yeah, we will do a quick refresher, but still make sure you watch the last video just in case, all right? So let's do a quick reminder on direct object pronouns. These are the ones that come with verbs that respond to the question who or what. Okay. So for example, we have j'aime mes parents, j'aime qui? Mes parents. Mes parents would be the direct object. So whatever we're using to replace that in a sentence would be the direct object pronoun. We have the question quoi or what? J'aime le chocolat. Tu aimes quoi? Le chocolat. This is the thing that is being loved. So if we were to replace this direct object with like it or something like that, then that would be a direct object pronoun. Okay. Let's do some practice replacing our direct objects with a direct object pronoun. Right? So we've got 5 sentences here. We have il admire sa professeure. J'adore mon papa. Mon papa a aidé mes grands-parents. Nous avons regardé la télévision. Ils ont invité leurs amis à la fête. What I'd like you to do is pause, write these down, circle or underline or do something visual to identify the direct object, and then you'll replace it with one of these. Okay. Go ahead and pause and give yourself time to do that. I will go over the answers in a moment, but it will stick a lot better in your brain if you work through that yourself. Okay. So let's start with number 1. Assuming that you've paused and taken your notes and now you're ready to go. Il admire sa professeure. Who does he admire? His professor, his teacher. So that's our direct object. We will replace that with L apostrophe because it starts with an A here. Il l'admire. Numéro 2, j'adore mon papa. Qui? Est-ce que j'adore? C'est mon papa. Alors, il est le direct object. So, je l'adore. Mon papa a aidé mes grands-parents. Qui est-ce qu'il a aidé? Il a aidé mes grands-parents. Right? So voilà, mon papa les a aidés. Notice that when we have a direct object a direct object pronoun before the passé composé, our past participle ends up having to agree with it. So in this case, because we have les grands-parents, that means just adding an S here at the end. Nous avons regardé la télévision. Qu'est-ce que nous avons regardé? What did we watch? The television. So that's our direct object. Gets replaced. Nous l'avons regardé. Here we've got passé composé with a direct object pronoun. So we've got to add an E at the end to make it agree since télévision is feminine. Ils ont invité leurs amis à la fête. Ils les ont invités à la fête. Couple reminders from here, the pronoun always goes before the verb, right? We have that here, 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 here. Just a little reminder on the order there. Next thing that you should be able to do at this point for practice is translate these using a direct object pronoun. So for example, we have my parents listen to me, you see us, they know you all, you called me, he did it, we understand you. So pause, see how much of this you're able to write out on your own. I'll start going over them together. Parents listen to me, mes parents m'écoutent. Notice that these are almost always going to be in the opposite order of our English versions, right? Instead of my parents listen to me, this is more like my parents, me listen. Same thing, instead of you see us, you us see. Vous nous voyez. Ils vous connaissent. Tu m'as appelé. Il l'a fait. Nous te comprenons. And quick reminder on when we have direct and indirect object pronouns in the same sentence. We looked at this exact sentence in our last video. We have je donne une pomme à mon professeur. You could rewrite that a few ways. You could rewrite it je la donne à mon professeur. Je lui donne une pomme. Or je la lui donne. Voilà. So let's do another one of those examples together. Here's one where we have both a direct and an indirect object in the same sentence. Je donne un cadeau à mon ami. Right? So how could we write it with a direct object pronoun, meaning something that replaces the word un cadeau? That would be je le donne à mon ami. I it give to my friend. We could rewrite it with an indirect object pronoun. Je lui donne un cadeau. I give him a present. Or I could do both. Je le lui donne. Voilà. Let's take a look at another one of those. La professeure a raconté une histoire aux élèves. So you should at this point be able to pause and hopefully guess how you would rewrite this with a direct object pronoun, something to replace une histoire, how you'd replace it with an indirect object pronoun, something to replace aux élèves, and how you might do it with both. With our direct object pronoun, that would be la professeure l'a raconté à la classe. Indirect object, le professeur leur a raconté une histoire. Et avec les deux, la professeure la leur a raconté. Again, like we said on the last slide of examples, don't forget that with the passé composé, this past participle needs to now agree in terms of number and gender. We've got some sentences that I'd like you to try to translate into French using two pronoun objects. So a little complex, you are translating and then simplifying and then retranslating if necessary. So for example, my parents bought me a book. My parents bought me it is kind of what we're looking for there, so it changes slightly. Mes parents me l'ont acheté. Notice our direct object pronoun goes first, then our indirect object pronoun. You all sent us a letter. Vous nous l'avez envoyé. Like you, us, it sent. They lent you the guitars. Ils vous les ont prêtés. You're giving me a flower. Or we'd simplify, you're giving it to me. Tu me la donnes. He's telling you the truth. Il te l'a dit. He's telling you it. We're asking the boss something. Nous le lui demandons. Voila, and there's our practice with direct and indirect object pronouns. Start writing down whatever questions you have so that we can take a look at it together during class.